can assure you that hardly works at all.
A little something else.
And so I understand that it was purchased 30 years ago
In Toluca Lake.
And an estate sale in Toluca Lake, California.
Correct. And the seller told the person who bought it, the person previous to me, that it came from Clark Gable's estate, and Clark Gable had a cabin and/or a house in Toluca Lake back in the 20s when Lucy and Desi lived there, and Errol Flynn and all the famous Hollywood people. So it was an enclave of famous Hollywood people, as I'm sure you know.
Well, I was raised in Hollywood, and Toluca Lake is just over the bridge there.
Yeah, Lucy and Desi had their probably first home there, and a lot of. If you just look up Toluca Lake and Google it.
Oh, I've been there.
So interesting. Though.
I know there's a lake there.
Yeah, but there's a lot of information on eBay about the early San Fernando Valley.
Oh,
on Google.
Hell would have to freeze over before I would ever take anything off of eBay. I can assure you.
I'm sorry, I meant to say Google.
Okay.
But I Googled a very interesting article about Toluca Lake and all the movie stars back in the early days.
So, do you have a favorite Clark Gable movie?
It happened one night, Gone with the Wind.
It happened one night.
That was Claudette Colbert.
That was the one that swept the Oscars.
Did it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It was, I think it got around 8 Oscars. I think it came out in either 1932 or 34. And the filming techniques of it were very advanced for the time. If you were to see that movie, you would not know it was made. If you didn't know all these other things, if you just looked at it as a film, you would know how early it was. But they did a fabulous job. Yes. That's why it did so well. In filming technique, you can generally tell when the movie was made in the 30s or the 40s, because by the time the 40s came, they nailed it. Pretty much. They haven't improved movies since the 40s.
I just remember the scene where they had to sleep in the same room.
Yes, and they had the Wall of Jericho.
Is that what they called it?
Yes, well, that's what they put when they put that sheet up or whatever they put up. They call that the Wall of Jericho. And the very last scene in the movie, he pulls the Wall of Jericho down because I think they're now married or about to get married.
So you remember the movie much better than I do.
Well, it was a fabulous movie. He was a reporter.
Oh, yeah.
That's why he was doing all that, and she was some sort of an heiress or something. I wouldn't say that, but I have an interest in motion pictures since I was raised in Hollywood, went to Hollywood High, and have been working on a book for several years that I will eventually turn into a screenplay.
Is that right?
Yeah, well, I have a great interest in it. And eventually I would like to direct